Hey guys, what's up? It's Alex here. Today we are here with round 2 of the Go-Kart Championship in 2016, like a little friendly Go-Kart Championship between myself and a few friends. So this is round number 2. Obviously round 1 was pretty interesting. I got pole position, 1 race win, and Tom.L got the other race win. So you can see it's the same 4 people from the last time. It's myself, my dad, John and Tom.L, and we've got 3 camera views here today, and Tom's also got his footage over on his channel, which I'll remember to link down below. So this is qualifying, for anyone wondering. Top left is my dad's camera footage, top right is John's camera footage, and the bottom middle is my camera footage. And one thing you do need to sort of realise well, you probably can realise it from now, but top right, John's footage, for some reason the camera like fogged up straight away, so it's really hard to edit it to make it look somewhat decent. So sorry throughout this whole video that top right camera doesn't exactly look great. I've had to spend quite a lot of time trying to edit it. It doesn't exactly look the most natural colours, but it makes it not look too bad in terms of the brightness. But yeah, this is qualifying. So basically what we do in the qualifying, for anyone that doesn't know, is just go around for about 5 minutes, and whoever sets the fastest lap time gets pole position. It's not throughout the whole session, so it doesn't matter if you finish first in the whole session. It's just about who gets the fastest lap in the 5 minutes that we have to do so. So you can see John sliding out quite a bit down the bottom corner here, and my dad's just behind him trying to overtake him. Obviously you don't really want to be stuck up behind somebody in qualifying, so he's trying to probably get past as quickly as possible here. So up to the top corner here, on the brakes, steering to the corner. John's gone a bit wide, but Dad's going to look down the inside. He's got that position, and he's up into the 3rd position on the road. And the conditions, well, it was kind of weird because I looked on the weather the day before and it said it was going to be raining. So I was expecting the short circuit, and generally in the wet conditions it evens out the sort of weight levels, obviously, because Tom.L is just so much lighter than everyone else. It sort of evens those out a little bit, obviously, because it's more down to how you can control the kart. But yeah, when we got here, and obviously I saw in the morning it was dry and all that, I was a bit disappointed because I thought, oh great, this is basically going to be quite tough for me here today. It's tough for me to challenge Tom.L here today. So you can see in qualifying he's already pulled out a big advantage. In the future I might be putting in his camera view as well, but it takes a bit of time for him to upload and all that, the footage. But I think maybe just for this video right here, 3 views is probably enough. It probably gets a bit too complicated if there's any more on the screen. Maybe 2 is enough, I don't know. Let me know in the comment section down below whether you like this 3 split screen format. They're all in time, by the way, for anyone wondering. They're all synced up perfectly, so they should look good, if that makes any sense. It should look like, if you're racing each other, it should look pretty good in terms of that. But one thing I did realise, I think John's camera's probably pointing up a little bit too much. Obviously you can't see the kart, it just looks like you're floating around the track, but it's alright. It was, you know, his first time using the camera as well. We used one of the helmets from their place and we put a GoPro mount on it, so thank you to guys at Filching Manor for letting us do that, because obviously we don't own the helmet that John's using for the camera here. We've just stuck a GoPro mount and put my GoPro on it. So yeah, it's nice to just get another camera view in there, and it means that John doesn't need to buy a helmet just to come karting, and we get the camera view as well, which is all good. So at this point, if you're thinking about my qualifying session just for a second, I'm thinking I'm in a bad place here right now, because look how far Tom.L is look how far Tom.L is sort of racing off into the distance. I was feeling that I was not putting in a good lap time, and I sort of realised it straight away. I was so slow in a straight line. I don't know why, but I was so slow in a straight line. So that was why I was feeling for my kart. I think my dad had a pretty good kart. I think Tom.L he didn't actually say anything after the race, but he probably had one of the best karts he ever had, because looking at his qualifying time, that was a really good time. We'll see it at the end, but he had a really, really good qualifying time, so I think that must have been one of the best karts, maybe one of the best karts he's ever had. So yeah, that's unlucky for everyone else. I mean, he's probably fastest anyway, but with a good car, it makes it even harder for us to try and keep up with him. But you can see here, my dad's side of the screen, he probably actually is catching up to me a little bit here, but I wasn't really sure. I wasn't really sure what was happening, because I obviously pulled out a bit of advantage over my dad, because he was stuck behind John for a little bit, And I'm not sure John, I think, you know, from what he was telling me, you know, after the races and all that sort of stuff, it didn't sound like he had the best of karts, to be perfectly honest. Sort of, from what he told me, the kart was sort of sliding out quite a bit, and he wasn't, you know, he was doing what he normally did. Even in the wet conditions, I think it was like steering a bit better than it was today. There's only like one corner that had a little bit of rain on it, but I think today John just had a bad kart, and that's what it is sometimes. But he's sort of in the learning part of going go-kart. And obviously, the first 3 or 4 times you really just have to learn about the lines and all that sort of stuff, where to put the power and all that sort of stuff. So you can see I'm coming around the final corner up to the start-finish line here, and there we go. That's the checker flag for me. My dad's going to come around in a second. John has already crossed the checker flag, I think. And that is qualifying over, but it was a really dominant performance from Tom.L. He got pole by like over a second, which is just crazy. I was second place, and my dad was third. It was only 1/10 of a second between myself and my dad in qualifying, and John was 4th place there. Here we go, the first race, and you can see me and Tom both jumped the start there because the lights were sort of off and then they came on to red, and then we sort of both jumped and it wasn't actually the right light. You go on the green light, not the red light. But anyway, good start from Tom.L as expected. Down to turn 1, I'm braking a little bit later than everyone else. My dad goes back down the inside of John. John briefly got in front of my dad there, but he was slightly late on the brakes than my dad, and he managed to get back to position. So at this point, Tom.L has already got a good advantage here. It was going to be really tough for me to get anything from this race, is what I thought. I mean, basically, if I could just hang on, and maybe if he made a mistake, I could possibly get him back. That was my sort of aim here today, was just to try and keep it clean, and if he made a mistake, try and capitalise on it. But you can see here, John has dropped back a little bit from my dad already. Obviously, he does say after the races he's just trying to learn it, and he's enjoying it, which is good, and just trying to learn it and learn the track, learn where to accelerate and brake correctly. You know, steering in is a massive thing as well. He said this bottom corner you just saw him go through there was his biggest problem. I mean, he seemed to figure out the top corner, but the bottom corner where you get, you know, the momentum to go down this part of the track here is the one that he was struggling with. So obviously that will come in time, you know, with experience and all that he'll understand. But you know, a lot of disadvantage today, for me and John at least, looked like it was the go-karts. But my dad, already closing out to the back of me here, he was close, but I'm pretty sure he must have been pretty close in qualifying to, you know, with a few more laps, I'm sure he was going to beat me in qualifying, but it helped me there. Luckily, I had just enough of an advantage there. He probably got quicker and quicker as the session went on. I didn't really get much quicker, I didn't think, throughout the whole session, but you know, I wasn't defending at this point here. You can see up to the top corner, I wasn't defending, but I did, you know, realise that my dad was going to be attacking at some point. He was going to try and go for the overtake here. So bottom corner here, we try and get a good run. I don't think my dad's quite close enough to get an overtake done here, but I do definitely need to be wary of where he is here. Do I go defensive? No, I don't. You'll see that when I go defensive, I pull to the right hand side of the track to obviously try and defend the inside line. The left hand side is obviously quicker as you steer into the corner, but my dad closing in so much on the brakes and on the acceleration as well. And it's kind of worrying, and you watch how quickly he's closing in here. It feels like inevitability that he's going to go for an overtake and complete it. But Tom.L is way off in the distance. He's dominating this race already. He's got at least 6 or 7 seconds on us. So he's pretty much got this race in a bag unless he makes a mistake. And considering we're only like 2.5 minutes into this race, that is quite incredible. But there we are. That's the first time I went defensive here. And that's when this whole race really does start to kick off here. Because obviously as soon as I go defensive, I have a bad run down the hill, which loses me even more time here. So this is where my dad really started to put the pressure on here and tried to get the overtake completed. But bottom corner, I needed to get as good a run through this last corner as possible, last main corner at least, because that's where I needed to get a good run. And basically I was so slow in a straight line here. I mean, I'm not going to lie, my dad probably shouldn't be faster than me in a straight line there, but he's just cruising up and trying to go around the outside there. But I'm just staying on the inside here and trying to be as clean with the corner as possible, not trying to jump over the curb or whatever. So you can see my dad, I could hear it, like I could hear his go-kart so close behind me here. And you know, at that point you sort of know, you can sort of understand the go-kart sound as well. You know what your go-kart is, the sound of your go-kart is, and what the other go-kart is. So you can sort of hear what is what, and as soon as I heard his kart just behind me here, I knew he was going to be going for an overtake. I see I had a quick look there, I saw him going to the outside, but he couldn't quite get that overtake done, and I just defend for another few corners at least here. John going across the start finish line here, he's dropping back quite a bit here. He probably is going to be soon to be lapped by Tom.L, and obviously it's just a learning experience for John. I think he understands that, and he says he's enjoying it, which is good as well. But yeah, you can see my dad really is closing up on the back of me here. He's going to be going for a move, is he here? I'm going to go defensive here. I look to one side then the next. My dad switches to the... I was so confused at this point. I was like, where is he? He was like diving from one side to the next. I initially went to the inside, then I thought I saw him, so I sort of didn't go complete defensive. Then I don't even know, to be perfectly honest. It got really confusing, but I managed to defend the line for another lap, which is good. I think John will be getting overtaken here and getting a lap soon. I don't know whether it'll be in the next couple of corners or not, but the pressure is definitely coming on from my dad here. He's right behind me once again. I'm going really defensive here. I knew what was going to happen inevitably at some point, unless, you know, if I made a mistake, it was going to happen at some point. You know, as soon as I made a mistake, it was going to make it a lot closer here. But my dad right behind me here, going through the quick right-hander. There is Tom.L. He's gone through his lap John, and he's moved himself. Well, you see how far ahead he is. He's at least half a lap ahead of myself and my dad now. Obviously a lap ahead of John. But every lap that I have to defend for my dad, it cost me a few tenths of a second. Obviously on Tom.L. But obviously, you're seeing this right now. My dad is obviously definitely faster. So I'm having to put on a pretty defensive race here now. I mean, we have probably about half the race to go, I'd say, and I'm being defensive so much here. I mean, it's not how I like to race, obviously, but to defend a position, you obviously have to defend, and you know, you compromise your lines and compromise your race really to keep that position. At this point, I saw how far ahead Tom.L was. Unless he made a massive mistake, I was not going to be winning this race. So it was all about just defending, and I don't know why my kart was so slow today. I try not to normally complain about the kart, but today it was just so slow, and it was one of my slowest lap times over the last like 5 years, which is kind of incredible. But I suppose it made it look worse that Tom.L had like the best time he's ever done. So yeah, let's just hope he doesn't get that car in the future. Obviously kidding, but I want to have a great race, and obviously when it's all spread out, it's not exactly the most fun in the world. But my dad's coming right behind me here. He's closing up once again. I'm going defensive once again, obviously. Out to this top corner, looks like the one he's got the best opportunity to go for an overtake here, but I stay defensive. He takes the wide line, gets a really good run through the corner here, and yeah, there we are. There's slight contact with the tyre wall there, and that really compromises him. My dad goes to the outside. He tries to get that overtake done, but I'm really compromised. I hit the tyre wall. I was feeling the pressure, and I hit that tyre wall at the top of the track, and my dad really closed in here, and I had to go defensive to this corner here, which I don't normally do, but I made a mistake here. I didn't go complete defensive. I had a quick look, and my dad was there, so I couldn't really squeeze him any further there. I mean, normally, you know, if I can see that I've got the advantage, I will try and get across the inside, obviously. But at that point, it was just impossible. I couldn't close in anymore, so I had to just stay back. But I knew at this point here, I had to overtake straight away to have any opportunity to get back. And he made a slight mistake here, so I really risked this here. I don't know whether this was really going to work out here, but luckily I managed to just get down the inside here. Then it was a drag race up to the top hairpin. My dad managing to get back in front here, but he doesn't pull across to the inside here, and we brake, and somehow he doesn't close it off here. I was thinking my dad would cut across and try and defend a position, but he didn't manage to do so, and I managed to get back the position there. I needed to attack right back straight away, and luckily that's what I did, and managed to somehow get it back. I mean, I knew that I was slower than my dad at this point. I knew I was the third fastest person on the track, but I just somehow managed to get that. I still don't really know how I did it, but well, it was lucky. Let's be honest. If my dad defended, he would have kept the position. But yeah, this is going to become an even more interesting race now, because we've got John just in front of us here. He's going to be lapped by us now. He'll probably say it probably wasn't his best race. He had a really good 2 races, obviously, in that first round. He finished 3rd in the first race of the season, which is a good achievement for him, obviously, beating my dad. But obviously learning with the dry conditions. This is the driest conditions he's ever had, which says a lot, obviously. The 2 times before it's been sort of a bit damp, but then last time it was obviously pretty wet on track at least. And then John, I thought I was going to go down the inside of him here, but now you could say it's a traffic jam. Can we get past John? Or we can look to the inside here. We haven't got quite enough speed here, but I'm staying just behind John. I'm making sure that I'm staying behind John as much as possible, but he makes a slight mistake there. He's gone off into the tyre walls. There's a crash. John's off into the tyre walls. Oh, an unlucky mistake there from John. I don't think, I think he, saying this, I think he was focusing too much on where I was, and my dad. And he didn't really see where he was in the corner. So mistake there from John, but he will definitely learn from that. You need to, I know it sounds stupid, but you need to make mistakes like that sometimes to actually improve. So it's probably best for him to actually make mistakes like this. So there we are, we're going around the corner here where John's had his accident. He's gone down another lap here. You can see he's just looking at us here and wondering where we are. I think Tom.L is going to come past soon as well. There we are. So Tom.L is actually quite close to lapping myself and my dad here. So, well, that's going to be an incredible story if he laps every single person. I mean, that's incredible stuff. But up to the top hairpin here, I go for a really ambitious move down the inside. It's somehow worked out, and I've somehow managed to claw back second position here. This could be the last lap of the race. I'm not 100% sure if it is, but this could be the last lap of the race here, and I need to make sure that I... Oh, is this yellow flag zone? I can't remember now. Yeah, the marshal's out there. And it looks like I'm actually going a bit faster than my dad through that yellow flag zone there. I didn't even realise, obviously I thought he'd probably stay right behind me there. But there's the checker flag nonetheless. And, well, luckily I managed to get that position on the last lap of the race. I finished second, which is alright. I obviously want to win the races, but I'm happy with that. Tom.L dominated our second. My dad finished third, and John, after that crash, finished, I think, 2 or 3 laps down in 4th position. But now, time for the second race, a reverse grid. So John starts on the pole position. My dad starts in 2nd position. I start in 3rd position, and Tom.L starts in 4th position. The lights are out, and away we go here. I go to the inside of the track here, and I try and go defensive here. But Tom.L, oh, there's a gap that was going to inevitably shut there, and Tom.L tried to put his car in between myself and the tyre wall there, but that was not going to work out, unfortunately for him. It's side by side between me and John, and I managed to get past John there and up into 2nd position here. I knew at this point I've got to try and overtake my dad as quickly as possible here, so he's going to probably be defensive, and well, John's going to have Tom.L overtaking him probably at some point here. Yeah, it's just happened right there. Sorry, John, but it was sort of inevitable at some point that Tom was going to get past, because he's quicker than everyone, to be perfectly honest. It's inevitable he's going to overtake anyone, but I can't believe it. Tom.L was so faster than a straight line. He was like at least probably about 2 seconds behind me, but before the start of that straight, and then he ended up like literally right behind me. It's just incredible. But top left, my dad leading this race here, so he wants to be trying to get up as much of an advantage as possible here now. So obviously I'm going to be holding up Tom, so that's probably my dad's opportunity to try and get a bit of a gap here. So up to this top hairpin here, I'm going to the inside, obviously going to be defensive. My dad probably didn't need to be defensive here, because if he'd looked behind, I was actually having to defend from Tom at this point. So my dad could have possibly been getting even more time if he wasn't unsure about where I was. But this is where the camera for John's side of the screen gets really bad. So I'm really sorry about that, guys. You can ignore it if you want. But yeah, I'm a bit annoyed, obviously, because I wanted John to have the footage to analyse for himself. But it's not ideal. I suppose you can sort of somewhat make something of it, but yeah, it's not exactly great. I'm not sure. I think the seal or something around the GoPro is not exactly great, and it means that it fogs up every time the GoPro obviously gets warm. Obviously, when it's recording, it gets a bit hot. So yeah, I think that's what does it. It's not cloudy in the real life, obviously, but as you can see on my screen, for some reason the cheapest camera here is my one on the bottom, and it's the one that looks the best. But that's just weird, isn't it? But anyway, I'm starting to feel the pressure of Tom here. I'm trying to keep him behind me, obviously, here. I'm trying to stay defensive up to the top hairpin here. But look at this. How can you defend from that? How can you defend from that? He just goes straight past me there. I can't do anything about that. I couldn't brake really any later to try and stop that overtake, and he's just going to fly off and try and overtake my dad as well. It's probably me sounding a bit bitter, to be perfectly honest, but it would be nice if there was some sort of weight neutralisation or something to make it a bit sort of easier to race against, obviously, like Tom and James, which are incredibly light, and it's like off the start finish line especially, it's hard to just race against them, just because they're inevitably going to be ahead of us into turn 1. But My dad does a good job there of defending from James. Sorry, not James, what was I talking about? Defending from Tom and keeping his lead for now. He's going to have to be defensive a lot of the time here because obviously Tom is incredibly fast. So, bottom corner here. Is he going to be able to get a good enough run out of here to make an overtake? Got that eventually. But I don't know whether he's close. You know, you can see on my screen here, my dad is going to be going defensive. Tom was looking one way then the next to try and go for the overtake. He's so fast in a straight line, but he can't quite overtake my dad. I feel that my dad had a pretty good go-kart actually. The fact that he was managing to stay ahead here. You can see Tom's looking all over the place, and this actually started to bring me back into it here. Obviously, I'd lost a bit of time from defending from Tom. I wasn't as fast as my dad in the first place, but them battling over first positions really giving me a good opportunity here to try and stake a claim in this race and maybe get something back. But the fact that Tom.L could get such a good run out of these corners, it was kind of crazy. But anyway, after the top hairpin once again, is he going to look one way than the next? My dad, he's managed to keep the position for now, and this is closing me in all the time. I managed to close in probably a few more attempts on that lap here as they're battling, as they're defending from each other. I'm able to take the optimum lines, even though I'm probably slower. I'm managing to take the optimum lines, and it's probably helping me out a little bit here. It's bringing me back into this. And then Tom's trying to look to the inside once again, and he somehow, I don't know how he didn't get the overtake done, but my dad's doing a really good job at defending here, up to the top hairpin, staying to the inside once again on the brakes, and then through the top hairpin here. He's got a bit sideways. There's contact. Tom.L's trying to squeeze him. Oh, there's contact, and Tom's into the tyre walls there. And, well, it's given me an opportunity here. He managed to get out really quickly, but I managed to jump to the inside and get second position there. I get a bit sideways, but I managed to get into second position there from the mistake there. I mean, I've watched that a few times. I mean, my dad was in front, so he sort of had the line really. I mean, I think he told me that Tom pushed him out a little bit, but then there's a yellow flag here at the top hairpin here, so I'm going slowly here from a yellow flag. I mean, we were told to go about half speed through the yellow flag zone, so I was slowing up quite a bit here to make sure that I wasn't doing anything you know, bad through the yellow flag zone. I mean, the last time there was a yellow flag zone, we sort of, you know, like a bigger yellow flag zone like this, we got told to come back into the pits because apparently somebody's going a bit too fast through them. So I mean, I didn't want to get called into the pit lane, obviously, because if we got called into the pit lane, that would ruin my race and mean that I didn't manage to get the position that I wanted, obviously, in this race. John hasn't been lapped. He's actually had a really good race here, John. He's managed to well, there's Tom overtaking under yellow flags. That's not exactly ideal, but he gives back the position, which is good. But John hasn't been lapped yet. He's done quite good this race, not gonna lie. He's really kept it on the track, and he's doing a good job here. He's definitely picked up his pace in this second race here, and he's doing a lot better, which is good. And there we are through the yellow flag zone. I'm starting to go back on again, and John up to the yellow flag zone's obviously slowing up quite a bit here, making sure you can see John slowing quite a lot through these yellow flag zones to making sure that he doesn't hit a marshal or whatever. But up to the top hairpin here from my dad. He's not having to defend here because he saw that I'm not close behind here, and that meant that he could just go for it. And oh, there's Tom. What can I do in this situation? Oh, I've slightly lost it. He tried to. I think he tried to come across there. I did say sorry there. I think he did try to come across there at the last second, but then I don't know whether he realised maybe that I was just alongside enough. But oh, contact with the wall once again. My driver was not up to scratch, I don't think, in this race here today, or these races in this round. And to be perfectly honest, I don't think my racing was up to scratch. And let's look at that, completely around the outside. I can't defend from that whatsoever. Tom.L through, and by the end of the straight, he's like a second ahead of me. Incredible scenes. And now he's going to see, can he catch up to my dad? That is the big question. How much of this race have we got to go? So we've got about probably 4 minutes of this race to go. He's probably got a 10-second gap, I'd say. Yeah, about 10 seconds to go to try and catch up to my dad. So he's probably got about 7 or 8 laps, and he's going to be closing in about 1.5 seconds a lap to try and close in 1.5 seconds. That sort of margin. He's going to have to be closing in each and every lap to take this win, which it would be incredible if he did. But you see, my dad, he's got quite a big advantage still. I mean, if we time it here, you can see it is, well, I don't know, I'm not going to time it, let's be honest. I was going to say 1, 2, 3, but that's just going to be annoying for you guys to listen to. But I'm assuming it's closing down a bit. I mean, I've already seen the gap coming down here. And my dad, obviously, he gained a bit of time through the yellow flag zone. Not because, I think he just went, like, nothing wrong with it, but he just obviously went a little bit faster through the yellow flag zone. So there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if it was a good speed, I mean, that's fine, as long as he was, playing safe, and obviously you're not going close to the tyre wall or whatever, that's alright. I mean, you can just make sure that you're safe through the yellow flag zone. Obviously going at reduced speed, but maybe I was going too slow through the yellow flag zone. Maybe that is a mistake on my part, going too slow through the yellow flag zones, and that's inevitably cost me a lot of time. Finally said it. But Tom.L really is closing up here. We've got just over 2 minutes to go here, so probably 4 laps to go. When my dad crosses the line here, he's going to have to try and seal this victory here. Obviously he hasn't won a race in over a year now, so this would be a good opportunity for him to win a race, but with Tom in such fast form, it's going to be incredibly tough for him to do so. So up to the top hairpin here, my dad, he probably isn't defending just yet. He probably doesn't know exactly where Tom.L is. And then up to the top hairpin, does he have a quick look? Does he see? I don't know whether he saw there whether Tom.L was right behind him or not. But into the last few minutes of this race here, he's going to have to be wary, because Tom.L is incredibly quick. He was, oh, my dad made slight contact with the wall there. I didn't see that when I watched this view before. Slight contact with the wall there, that would have cost him a little bit of time here. And you can see they sort of contemplate the time here. How long has they got left? I mean, I've always been looking at the marshals. I always sort of trying to read their reactions to know how much we've got of the race left. So up to the top hairpin once again, my dad manages to keep the position. He's going to have about 2 laps to defend now from Tom for the race victory here. Can he do it? It would be incredible if he could do it here. I mean, it was sort of a done deal really, that with Tom's speed in qualifying that he was going to win both of the races. But oh no, there he is. Wow, what an incredible comeback from Tom. Oh wow, with just over, this could even be the last lap of the race. I'm not 100% sure here, but that could be it. He could have got the victory on the last lap of the race here. John, he's not going to be lapped here. It doesn't look like. He's just in front of Tom.L here. Will he be lapped? I think this is the last lap of the race now. Up to the bottom corners here, my dad. Oh, unless Tom makes a mistake here. He's made an incredible comeback. John is not going to get lapped up to the start-finish line. Just about. I think he doesn't get lapped there. So great stuff from John, but incredible from Tom there to come back from about a 10-second deficit, closing down the gap to my dad. My dad just didn't quite defend enough there. And, well, I had a terrible race again, but well done to Tom. Great race there from my dad as well to nearly grab a victory, which will be really important for him. And I finished 3rd place, and John finished 4th place, but much better performance from John, I've got to say. Congratulations to him. He didn't get lapped in that last race there, and really good stuff for him there to really sort of close down the sort of speed advantage that we had on him. But there's the championship. Tom.L now leads on 62 points with a triple win there. You can see 3 wins in a row. I got a 1st in the first race of the season, then a 2nd, 3rd, which puts me on 54. My dad has 40 points with a 4th, 2/3 and a 2nd. John got a podium in the first round of the season, and then 3 4th places after that put him on 32 points. So that is it for this video, guys. Thanks again for watching. Please remember to leave a like on the video. I really would appreciate it. And until next time, it's been AlexZAfRo out here. Goodbye.